you for taking the time to talk. How was the
Definitely.
gig last week?
Really awesome. We played Red Rock, which was just, you know, been waiting all my career to do that.
Yeah. Was
It's
that your first time there?
it was my second time there,
Okay.
but I've I don't know, I think it was better even than the first time because I knew what to expect and um the bass can be interesting at Red Rocks actually.
Oh,
Um
really? How so?
well, especially in bluegrass music when we don't have a kick drum or anything like that. If it's like really loud in the subs or out in the house and then echoing off the rocks, there's just a bit of like flat back kind of tempo. It just gets a little bit like you're swimming in it. So I knew to expect that this time, but it was actually better than last time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean playing even electric bass, I think in stadiums or arenas or stuff like that must be difficult, but trying to tame, yeah, an upright, which is, you know, even in a bar gig, sometimes it's bad. So
hmm
what do you just have to adjust your playing or what do you do for that situation?
Um, Mainly I rely on the in-ear monitors just to know like no, this don't listen to that out there, listen to what's going on in your ear. Um, and then we really just have to rely on the front of house engineer to know what they're doing and not pump the bass too loud in the subs or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Another issue that I think a lot of us have run into.
hmm
Even though
Yeah.
it feels good, it doesn't sound good if it.
Yeah, and for me it gets really uneven, like the G and the D strings. If if it's not like evenly dispersed or so, I don't know how they do it, but um, yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
the A and the E can be really powerful and feel really good, but then you go to play G and D and it's like nothing. So I've just I think there needs to be some balance in there,
Yeah, yeah,
ideally.
yeah. It all falls out.
hmm
Well, hey, congratulations on putting an album together, a solo album.
Thank you.
As it feel, I mean, you've just, you've been playing with so many people for so long, and you've put out albums with bands. What does it mean to you to have like this effort of your own? Does it feel a whole lot different?
It does in a way, yeah. It's same but different. Like I've with Sally and George, I'd written some of the songs, and it was a duo project, so that felt more, I think, probably the closest to what this solo record feels like, except we didn't hire other musicians. It was just, a very stripped down duo sort of thing. This one was putting the whole band together, writing all the songs and picking all the songs. I did two covers, so 11 originals and two covers. And yeah, and then just being able to play with the band that I put together was sort of a dream come true. Um, and then that part is the fun part, but then on the backside, it's definitely different when I'm doing all the work, like putting out the promotion and all of that sort of thing. And then moving from record to going into booking bands and booking shows, and it's it's very exciting. And I'm really glad that I had all these other experiences before making my own record. I think that's partially why I've waited so long, is just the more I did with other people and other bands, um, the more I learned. So it made this one, I guess I had a roadmap
Mhm.
thanks to like Della Mae and Molly Tuttle and Golden Highway and those things.
Yeah, yeah. Is I mean, a solo album something you've been thinking about doing for a long time? I know that Streets of Boulder you've had kind of in your pocket for a long time. You wrote that a
Yeah.
while ago. Is so have you just kind of been daydreaming about this for a while, or did what I guess what brought it about?
I think uh, two things really. I'd been writing songs, but didn't necessarily have the intention like of writing for a solo record, but just writing because I do, it's just part of my creative habit. But my husband, Joel, made a solo record, and he's been playing a lot with someone we're a big fan of, Maya DeVitri, who's a great singer-songwriter in Nashville, um, and asked her to produce his record. And so I got to experience that whole process that they went through. Um, and that sort of sparked the little, oh, that's pretty cool, and really fun. And Maya is such a great producer and really like listened to what Joel wanted and honored that, but was good at organizing and knowing like in the recording when they had gotten the proper take and all of that. But also being around Bronwyn, I remember one night on tour, we were riding the elevator and she was saying, I want to make another solo record, but this time I want to sing. And I was thinking like, oh, actually I want to make a solo record too. So just being inspired by other people doing it around me kind of pushed me to think, oh, I should do that, and yeah, I have songs and why not?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and
Hmm.
you've got an amazing voice, you
Thank
know.
you.
Yeah, really beautiful. Um, do you I don't know, I mean, you have such a great voice and you're a great bass player. Sometimes I wonder how you identify like as a bass player or a singer first, or does that
Uh,
even come into your thought pattern?
um, I guess going back, probably singing is just, you can do it anywhere. You don't have to bring an instrument. You already have it. So I'm definitely a singer first, and I think that does help with if you do voice training, and I did choir and a lot of voice lessons and things like that when I got into college, but I started out in fifth grade and joined the choir. And training your voice in training your ear, I think really go hand in hand with being able to play an instrument without frets. So your ear is already trained to match pitch kind of, and that definitely helps when I switched to bass. I started on fiddle when I was 5 and worked my way bigger gradually as instruments got bigger as I got a little bit older. And eventually, when I was 14, I began playing the upright bass. Um, but I'd already been like entering contests and singing and stuff like that before I chose the bass. But the bass really stuck with me more than any other instrument. I felt like quickly, I could learn quickly on it, whereas like guitar or fiddle, there was more pressure to take solos, and with guitar, you have to use your whole hand. I mean, you do have to use your whole hand on bass, but you have the different chords. It's not as easy as just one finger down on the bass to make the right note. So that's why I really started playing the bass and stuck with it, I think.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, that's one thing I love about the bass is it's like the access is easy. It's like an easy instrument to pick up and then to master it, it's like damn near impossible. But
yeah, yeah, it's good. It tricks you at first.
yeah. Yeah. Um, well, one of the things I read in the press release is that you wanted your first album to be a bluegrass album. And you do have a Lady Gaga cover on there. So I was just kind of curious. You came up like kind of in bluegrass, or like what
I
is your
did.
like your musical loves been? Because saying that you wanted it to be a bluegrass record made me think maybe I don't know if you got some indie rock or something, bubbling up inside you.
Um, Definitely bluegrass is my roots. I My dad plays the banjo and the guitar, and we were always having people over jam sessions, and my brother plays mandolin, and it was, I guess, just something I've always done is bluegrass, and so that's why I kind of wanted that to be debut record, but with other projects, Sally and George leaned a lot more Americana, folk rock style, um, with the influence of my husband on that. So that was just intentional to like not have drums on the record and just keep it to like 5 or 6 piece bluegrass acoustic instruments. Um, and but I grew up listening to country music too, and yeah, so that really does have an influence on me. But I don't know, I was always really intimidated by jazz, but my brother went off and got a degree at Berkeley in contemporary improv, and he kind of went in a jazz direction in learning that. Um, but I've say I've pretty much solidly stuck in the folk rock, Americana scene. Um, it's what I feel comfortable with and what I enjoy listening to also.
Hmm. Well, clearly you excel with it. I mean, if you just look at your friends that you've got on the record,
Yeah,
it seems like everybody. So it's so cool.
totally.
Yeah,
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 play to your strengths, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, part of why I was asking that too is I was going through some of the Sally and George videos, and you guys had that cover of Ocean Man by Ween. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
definitely my husband's
yeah, it's
influence, which I'm so happy to have expanded my, my musical palette with that.
yeah,
But oh my gosh, I can't believe you saw that. That's so fun.
yeah, yeah,
That was a fun video.
yeah. Um,
But sorry, Lady Gaga, just I love Lady Gaga so much. Of course, you can't really escape pop music in our culture. So, but Lady Gaga is a huge influence on me. I love her voice, and she's just that song in that era that she had with the Joanne record was inspiring because she kind of was going country a little bit and put on a cowboy hat and singing more stripped down arrangements of the song, so they translated really easily to for me. So I started playing Million Reasons with Sally and George a few years ago, and it that was Maya. We made a demo of that one to send to Maya, my producer, and because I was on the fence, I wasn't sure if it would be a good call to record a Lady Gaga song, but when Maya heard the demo, she was like, "Yes, definitely. It fits in with the lyrical content kind of fits in with the rest of the songs, and she thought my voice sounded really good on it, and so that was really fun because the Lady Gaga arrangement is actually pretty stripped down. I think there's like piano and I don't know, just not a lot going on her version. And my version has more going on. It's like more filled out with multiple guitars, banjo, bass, and fiddle and everything, and mandolin. But so it was cool to be able to interpret her song in a new way.
yeah.
Um,
Well, Maya was right because it totally fits the vibe.
yeah, and there is sort of a history in bluegrass music of covering pop songs, so it fits in that way as well.
Yeah, yeah. That can be a lot of fun. Are there any tunes that are there any like pop tunes that you've been like toying with the idea of trying to cover? You got any up your
Lately,
sleeve that would be cool? Yeah.
well, really obsessed with Cowboy Carter,
Oh yeah.
Beyonce. She's on tour now, so that really has got my attention. Um, but I've been pretty focused on learning my songs now that I've recorded them. Now I'm like going back and trying to learn those songs and
Yeah.
so been focusing a lot on that. But yeah, watching the
Yeah.
Grammys this year, the Best New Artist category was mind-blowing because I'd heard the hit of like all those new artists had a hit basically last year, and um, yeah, pop music is it's really one, it's leaning country, which is cool, and also it's just I think it's really good right now.
Hmm. Yeah,
It,
it does seem to be leaning that way. I mean, if Beyonce is, leaning on country, that's a pretty good sign
yeah,
that.
and Post Malone,
Yeah,
um,
right.
but uh, yeah, with Post Malone taking Sierra Farrell out on tour, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I really like Doechii.
Oh my God, yeah.
She is so awesome.
I
And
first
that song,
saw,
Anxiety, that song really, I can relate to that so much. So maybe I'll have to work on that one.
yeah. Oh my God, I would pay for that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Man, yeah, her Tiny Desk concert. Have you seen that one? Oh,
Bits and pieces, yeah.
yeah, so good,
Mm,
so good.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Um, yeah, that is a thing that kind of resonated with me. The song Joy resonated with me in that kind of way, like kind
Mm,
of, getting in emotions like that.
yeah.
Does it feel vulnerable to write about that kind of stuff?
Not to write about it, but to share it with anyone else,
Yeah.
100% vulnerable. Um, yeah, I was in Charleston. I just moved to Charleston from Nashville, and um, I was worrying about. I have so many great friends in Nashville, especially like female friends, and I was worried moving to Charleston that I wouldn't. Although I have a lot of great friends here, like they're not musicians really. So I was worrying about not being able to um, just maintain friendships with awesome women musicians. But then my friend introduced me to Sam Ray, who I co-wrote Joy with, and she was playing with Brandy Carlisle at the time, playing cello. And so it was perfect because my fears kind of just got like, oh, okay, never mind. It's gonna be okay. There's really awesome women that are musicians in Charleston as well. So we started getting together weekly and working on music, and it was during the pandemic, so we would meet outside and kind of be distance from each other, but also tapping into that feeling like where it just felt like all the joy was like hard to remember. It's hard to remember what it felt like to be joyful. Um, so we're tapping into that. And yeah, I think that one's like it's a quiet, um, I just think that hopefully I'm glad that you related to it because I think hopefully other people will too. Um, and that's one of the beautiful things when you are tapping into some vulnerable emotions or feelings. If it's if you can write about it in a way that's personal but still broad, not too specific, then hopefully other people can relate to it and hopefully it can just spark a little bit of something. That's just the wish when you do record a song that is personal but can relate to other people. We just watched Jason Isbell. We were opening for him at Red Rocks, and oh my gosh, he is a master at songwriting and writing those deeply emotional and sad songs that it feels like you may have lived also. It's really
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, his latest album's pretty heavy on that, I thought.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, we are a website dedicated to the bass. So we have to get nerdy on
Heck yeah.
bass stuff if you're cool with
Heck yeah.
that. Uh,
Definitely.
so what basses do you have? Can you tell us about those?
Yes. My first bass was, well, actually, I had to borrow a bass from the junior high in Laramie because my parents, since I'd switched instruments so much over the years, they said, Well, how about since the bass is so big and expensive, why don't you borrow one for a year and see if you're actually going to stick with it before we get you one? So I did, and I think it was some old German something, not very not very awesome. My dad did like bass surgery on it. He's tried to try and get the action lowered and everything. But the first bass that I bought was it was like my high school graduation present, and it's a swing master Engelhardt, and we got it from Lemur Music in California,
Yeah.
and they set it up and did all the work to prepare it, make sure it had good strings and it was playable, and then it arrived in this. It was so cool when it came in a giant semi truck with like only the bass in a box in the back, and it was like they had the little fragile thing, if it was red, then you don't open it, send it back. But
Oh,
it
wow.
wasn't, so they hadn't shaken it or dropped it or anything. So yeah, I got a blonde Engelhardt Swing Master that's kind of like the old K basses, um, and I still have that one. But then when I started traveling a lot more, um, moved to Nashville and I was flying and had been just sort of backlining bases, and that was really interesting. I had so many random bases, and one of them had all these decorations hanging on it and a rubber chicken like just tied into it, and another one I showed up and there were only three strings on it. So it was not consistent, and then uh, we got the news that Charlie Chadwick had been creating his Chadwick folding bass, and so I bought one of those like in 2012, I think. Um, and that was my road dog for a long time. I even started out with in Molly Tuttle and Golden Highway playing that bass, but um, I think Charlie did such great things for upright bass players by creating that. Obviously, you guys have probably talked about or heard about the Chadwick folding bass before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's 50 pounds, and um, so the airlines won't charge you overweight for it. They might charge oversized, but it was kind of based on who was doing the gate work at that point.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just so cool that everything kind of breaks down and goes inside of the bass, and really genius. Um, but it was not like quite up to, well, let's say this, when he invented that, I don't think there were other ways of flying with a bass. I kind of feel like that was the first thing, and then people got the idea and started making the bolt-on necks,
Yeah.
which because there's not a hole cut in the back panel of the bass, for like with the Chadwick there is, but with the bolt-on neck they don't do that. They just let you remove the neck and fingerboard. Um, the the sound and the like togetherness basically is a lot. It's a lot tighter, and so you can have like I upgraded to a I kept with the Shin base, which was what the Chadwick is made out of, but because I was comfortable with the neck and I just played that neck for so long, but I upgraded to one that has a carved back and top. Um, so that's now my number one bass. Um, as far as bass players go, I guess I can be nerdy, but I'm not like 100% bass nerd. Like I just gear really freaks me out a little bit, but when I was trying to get my setup going, I watched Victor Krauss. He did a video on YouTube where he was showing off his rig, and he inspired me to get the Beasley pickup. Um, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's a guy up in Canada named Clark Beasley or
Uh,
Bizel, however he pronounces it. Um, and it's a magnetic pickup that slides onto the end of the fingerboard and tighten up the screws there, and you can adjust the little pickups for each string.
hmm.
But that makes it so you can get really loud without having feedback. Um, a lot of bass players that play upright with drums will like stuff their bass with foam or anything like that, but I've never had to do that. Um, and I do think that the Beasley pickup helps a lot with that because it can get loud and it's not, I don't know, it doesn't come back to the bass somehow.
Yeah,
Maybe our in-ear monitors help with that too. I'm not sure. But
yeah,
so I have my shin bass and the Beasley pickup and a Fishman full circle pickup. And I send two lines out to the front of house engineers, but if I need to, if I'm not traveling with my own front of house engineer, I play with the Grace Design Felix.
oh,
So
cool.
it has two channels. You can put them in and you can blend them, or you can blend them yourself or send two lines out to the mixing board, depending on what the scenario is.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really enjoy that. That's all I use, just that and a tuner
Yeah.
on my bass rig.
That's pretty much what I've got too. The just preamp and a tuner. That's all you need, you know.
Yeah, that's all you need really. It's
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
tone on upright really is in the fingers
yeah.
and the
Yeah, well,
strings.
that's one thing I noticed is just you have such a even in on recordings, you know, you've got such a big, beautiful sound. What's your right hand technique like, or what are you shooting for with tone?
I just um like with timing and a little punchiness, I for bluegrass, I think that's important. Um I do like a warm tone. I don't want it to be like too high-endy, but just finding the sweet spot on the neck of where I place my right hand. And then I'll use my first finger and middle finger a lot together, like if I'm really digging in to give it a lot of oomph. But also, but then, I can be more flexible with it too. They're not tied together. Sometimes I use only one finger, sometimes I'm using two if it's like a faster thing that I'm doing. Um, I had Mark Schatz's bass video when I was growing up, and so I learned a lot of my right and left hand technique from him because he was trained classically, and I just thought that was cool. He gave us exercises to do to gain independence between the two fingers, and yeah, just with tone, just warm but punchy. This
Yeah,
is kind of what I'm going for.
yeah, yeah. It's a hard balance to find sometimes, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, it's I always get surprised when I realize, oh, my strings are dead. And then I change the strings and then I'm like, oh, there's that tone. Like it sneaks up on you with the bass, I think. With the guitar, you just change the strings so much. But on the bass, I don't know. I think maybe I change my strings twice a year, maybe. But sometimes it's I realize like, wow, it's just feels so dead. Like, what's going on? Is the sound post in the right place? Oh no, just change the strings and then there we go. It comes back to life.
Yeah, I think twice a year is really good for a bass player. That's
It's a lot actually, and
yeah, yeah,
but I have been playing a lot the past 3 years, so it makes sense that I would need to change them more when I am playing a lot. And plus, I think with since I have also the bolt-on neck and to fly and do that sort of thing, I'm winding the strings down and then winding them up more often than just a bass that's sitting around not being broken down to fly. I think that does affect the strings and the deadening of them.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't think
Yeah.
about that. That's a good point. Oh,
Yeah. It's just a lot more work that they have to do.
yeah. You mentioned Victor Krauss and Mark Schatz. Who are some of your other like kind of bass influences or people that you get excited to listen to?
I love Barry Bales, who plays in Alison Krauss Union Station. He's just so, I loved how he moved between the notes, and that was inspiring because it wasn't busy and it wasn't too much. It was just exactly what the song needed to kind of show whoever's playing or listening kind of where where it's going. So
Hmm.
I like Barry. Um, when I first moved to Nashville, I got to know Bryn Davies. She's so cool, and she was a huge bass influence on me in that time. Um, I think she studied some jazz and went to Berkeley and stuff, so she's really good and really comfortable and fluent on the bass. Um, and then I got to hang out recently with Annie Clements. She's filling in for Jason Isbell's main bass player, but I've been watching her for years, and I really do. I think she's really cool. So it was great to see her. Um, my original inspiration on bass was a woman named Erin Youngberg. She's from Colorado, and she was just the first woman that I ever saw play an upright bass. And I couldn't, my mind was blown. And like from that moment on, I was like, I need to do that. So she gave me my first bass lessons and um but Paul McCartney is a great bass influence also. I and I have a funny thing because I'm upright mainly. When I listen to like a pop or a country song, I'm not really paying that much attention to the bass, but in a bluegrass or if it's an upright bass or I my ear goes straight to it. But in other music, my ear is not focusing on the bass. I think if it's bass guitar, I'm not as likely to tune into it for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe just I'm more listening to the vocals on that. Um, but the Beatles are you just you can't ignore those bass
Yeah,
lines.
yeah, that's
They're
an
so cool.
exception. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, what was, did you say Erin Youngberg? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it seems like there are more female bass players around these days, but maybe it's just that we're able to see them more often. But it seems like representation really matters, and it seems like that's something that
hmm
matters to you, right? Is that right?
It does, yeah, because it does if I saw I could see myself doing that for sure. Um, and then even yeah, I mean that's really just what inspired me. So I've there's plenty of really good bass players out there. I mean, I love Paul Cowart and Ethan Yojavitz, who is Maya Devitri's boyfriend. So I've been learning Ethan's parts on Maya's records because sometimes I'll play with her, and that's super inspiring because he thinks of different lines than I ever would. He's really creative, and for me, it's really fun to be able to learn his lines and see like what's he thinking? How's he getting from this note to this chord to the next one? Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the representation of women on the bass, upright or electric, is really important
Hmm.
to me, and I do hope that being a woman that plays in different bands that are of different levels of profile, you know, I think that I always do hope that I can inspire other women to want to play music when they're, or young women when they're growing up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, well, so that was a lot of the questions I had, but do you have are you going to be doing like a solo tour, or are you going to be performing this music out? I know I saw that you have an album release, but I don't know if you're going solo after that or
Yep. I have getting some dates together for this summer and fall, and then into next year. I'm looking forward to playing these songs out in um, all across the US, and I do hope to travel internationally also and bring my record out to the greater world. So,
oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's going to be fun. I'm going to be doing some trio shows this summer, and of course the album release show in Nashville is going to be really really cool. I've got a few of my all-star friends coming in for that one. Um, and yeah, I am excited to see, because I haven't had the chance to form my own band before, so I'm excited to see how it's gonna form and shape, and um, to bring the music out to the people. And I
Yeah.
think I will continue playing the bass in my band. I was joking with my Golden Highway bandmates, like, yeah, it's so hard putting a band together, finding pickers and everything, but at least I've got my steady bass player on lockdown. Like, I've got Shelby
Yeah.
Means on bass.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a lot of is Molly and are you guys going to be doing a lot coming up?
No, we're not actually. I'm going to London with Molly in a week or so, and then we're playing at Rocky Grass Bluegrass Festival, and that's kind of our last gig coming up before Molly's going to do sort of in just a different direction, just away from bluegrass a little bit.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I'll be sitting in the bluegrass wings.
All right. All
You
right.
know, when there's
Yeah.
a void, then hopefully I'll be able to fill some of that with this record.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's been a really amazing journey with Golden Highway and getting to play with Jerry Douglas and all around the world in such a high class operation.
mm-hmm.
It's a great experience.
Grammy winning, you know.
Yep, we won a Grammy. That was so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Hard to ask for more than that, isn't it? I mean,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just try and maintain that level is all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a lot of practicing on
Yeah.
my part,
Right on.
but yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we hop off of here?
Um, well, I don't know when this is gonna air, but my record comes out May 30th,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a pre-order campaign going on right now on my website. And just I guess all you bass players out there, keep on thumping. We need that low end.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. I think this is gonna come out not, I think it's gonna be like 2 weeks, so that should be maybe the week before,
Awesome.
something like that.
Great.
I just talked to it's funny, I don't do a lot of bluegrass stuff, but I just
Mhm.
talked to Greg Garrison from Leftover Salmon yesterday.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
now they've got an album this week, and so anyways, but it
Cool.
should be out before that, and yeah, we'll get this cut up and all that stuff for you. But please drop me a line anytime we can do something for you.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for taking the time. Sorry I had to reschedule. That was my
It's
fault,
cool.
thinking I could do it all.
No, it's cool. I totally understand. When the PR person um hit me up, I was looking at your schedule and I was like, she's playing a pretty decent gig that day. And so
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking like maybe that'd be a little tight. So
Yeah, it just the way the timing worked out, I was like, wait a minute, this isn't okay. Can't.
Yeah,
Can't
it's all
do
good.
it. Cool.
I get it. So
Well, what's that bass
awesome.
you've got back there behind you?
Oh my God, this is like an old Tyrolean bass
Mm,
that I actually I saw it on Facebook Marketplace. It was there's like an old bluegrass family, and I live in like Berryville, Virginia, like Northern Virginia,
okay.
and in Shenandoah, Virginia, they were selling it for $1,000. I got it, and it's like a old German kind of thing, but the neck had popped off,
Yeah.
and so
Oh,
they let me show you. They like put screws, they just screwed it all back
oh.
together.
Wow, the original
Yeah,
bolt-on neck.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
That sounds good.
yeah, it sounds like $1,000,000. Well,
Hmm.
I keep telling people I'm not too proud to play it, you know. So it even had down here, like they
Uh-huh.
just filled in like Bondo on
Wow,
this corner, and then
I love that.
they used a pin to draw the like the purfling back in. So
Man, that's so cool. I
it's a
mean, I think that,
conversation piece.
yeah, the character, I don't like a bass that's just shiny and fresh. I'm like, no, I don't like that.
No,
I like one with character that
yeah,
has storylines etched into it, you know?
yeah, exactly. Well, I also don't have to feel bad about, a little ding here and there, that's a thing
Exactly.
too.
Cool. Well, thanks so much. Great,
Yeah,
great chatting with you.
yeah, you too.